waiting. I just got here a little early. Right now, in 30 minutes, it's going to be a rally outside here. They completely updated this park to add some art. Let me get my opinion about this first off, right? With this art shit, I think it's kind of stupid to put this in a park where you need as much pedestrian traffic as possible. What's going on here? That these nonprofits that run the city of New York, they that really control the city council and the city hall right here. You see behind me is city hall right there, right there. They own these politicians. So what happens is these politicians, and I can tell this with the help of the speaker, Speaker Adrian Dale Adams, who will be mayor, she allowed this to get out of the park. We all know that this park is overseen by the ineffective Christopher Marte, who's in a primary right now against 3 people. Let me get my opinion about this quick. I want to talk about some other shit. There's another primary that's happening this year. I'm gonna get my opinion about this quickly, right? So first off, with Christopher Marte, right? So yesterday there was the news with Marte allegedly taking Elizabeth Lewis-Schoen's palm card from an apartment door and removing it and replacing it with his shit. Now, let me give my opinion about this, right? Let me give my opinion, right? Look, let me keep this real, right? 21, that race for District 1 was kind of a new open seat, right? With open seat between Marte, Susan Lee, Maud Marin. There was a lot of people in that race. Margaret Chin, Jim Lowe, and Gigi. It was an open seat. So everybody was running for that seat, right? So Marte came out on top because he was the slow progressive candidate versus a lot of like the sole NIMBY progressive candidate versus the YIMBY moderate candidate. So he came out on top of RCB. And then you got to remember that Marte ran in 17 against Margaret Chin, and a lot of people in the district don't like Margaret Chin, and he almost defeated by 200 votes. And then he ran the general election 2017. In the general, he got like 48% of the vote as an independent candidate. So Marte was really popular going into that race in 21. So in 23, and you got, I said, I'm not surprised this. So in 23, right? In 2023, Marte, everybody know, like if you're an insider like me, like a political insider like I am, you know that Marte hasn't gotten nothing done as a city council member in 2020 and 2023, right? He didn't have a great tenure as a council member from 22 to 24. He never did. He didn't introduce not one bill to city council. He didn't introduce not one bill to city council. He didn't introduce not one bill to city council. He didn't introduce not one bill to city council. He didn't get anything done as a city council member. All he did as a council member, all he does as a council member was just march around this park with his voter base. March around the park with his voter base. This park here, exactly with his voter base, crying about 24-hour workday. I understand about 24-hour workday, but like I said, everybody know that 24-hour workday bullshit is really ran by 1199, mainly 1199, and CPC. Now the thing with CPC and 1199, let me put this down. Sorry about that. The thing about 1199 and DC 37, 1199 and CPC is that 1199 is one of the most powerful unions in the whole city. They have a lot of votes. They have a lot of black votes. And no elected official is want to shake that apple cart by going against 1199. And when it comes to CPC is a powerful nonprofit in the city of New York, and they don't want to shake the apple cart. No politicians want to shake the apple cart. So it's like, well, Marte, he really got nothing done as a councilman in 2022 to 2020 to his primary 23. So let me give my experience with Marte. Right? This is my experience, right? My experience with Marte was I never ever disparaged this man ever. I might criticize them like Brandon, I got a Brandon and shit like that, but I never slandered the man like I slandered the guy. I never slandered him at all. I never disparaged the guy, ever. But when I was trying to ask like a simple question, he will always say that I'm busy. It's just like, don't want to give me the time of day. I believe, and it's like he doesn't give people the time of day. He never gave me the time of day. It's like he's always busy. I'm like in my head, I'm like, yo, dude. I'm like, motherfucker. I ain't like, you didn't even like hear what I say. I'm just busy. So it's like Marte only listens to a certain few people, and everybody else he just completely ignores and don't give the time of day and gives a middle finger to. So when it was time for him to get a primary, I'm like, you know what, like Marte, like, you know what, dude, I'm like, yo, if you don't want to give me the time of day and ignore me as much, I never got at you as much I should have got at you for being a real ineffective council member. You know what, I'm gonna help out your opponent. So I helped out Susan Lee run for city council against him, because at least Susan, she gave me the time of day. We had a few conversations. She gave me her platform, and I decided to help her out for free. Volunteer for her campaign for free. So at the end of the day, it's just like with Chris, it's like I'm not surprised that, like I said, going forward with this stuff with Chris, I'm not surprised that he's doing this stuff, because he knows, like Christopher Marte knows that what he does to people, not only constituents, he does his own constituents. He gives them the finger, and he always to serve few constituents. He gives the fingers to the insiders too. He gives the fingers to the insiders. Now, he gives the fingers to the insiders too. Insiders like me in politics that know this stuff, and he gives a finger too. So going forward, it's just like with Marte, it's just no surprise. It's really no surprise that he's doing this stuff. Marte is really doing this stuff to people. And like I said, like when I was working on the Susan Lee campaign, Marte was known for ripping down her signs. He was getting his people to rip down her signs and shit like that, and ripping down her signs. And I'm not, like I said, it was no shock that man did that. That man ripped her signs away. He ripped her signs off. I mean, I'm not surprised. He ripped her signs off. He had kids. He had children. To not only rip off her signs, he ripped off his Republican opponent, Hillary Clinton's signs. So, like I said, it just with him is like he doesn't like to see anybody run against the guy. He doesn't like to see anybody run against him. And that's the thing about Chris Marte, because he knows that he's real ineffective. Anybody that, if you know about Chris Marte and you're inside like me, that know he's coming in and out and what they are doing and what they're not doing, you know that Christopher Marte is like the least effective council member in the Manhattan delegation. He's the least effective council member in the Manhattan delegation. So he knows that like there's people that's running against him right now. It's not like the one in 2021 where like it's like, oh wait, like okay, yeah, more Marin, okay, I get it, but and Gigi Lee, but I get it, but this time around he's really in trouble because he's running against Eric Yu. Eric Yu is backed by Susan Lee, and I met Eric. He's a good person. Then you have Jess Coleman. I like Jess as a person, but I think his policies are shitty. Jess Coleman, I think his policies are really shitty. That's my opinion. His policies are really shitty, and but you know, he's raised a lot of money against a lot of insiders. A lot of insiders is giving this guy a lot of money. To a lot of people that I know who are inside, they give this guy a lot of money. That are inside lobbyists, consultants, they give this guy a lot of money because they know like if he wins, he's gonna really work with the city council. He's gonna work with the speaker. And then you have Elizabeth Lewishon, who's running in that same race too. She raised a lot of money for people within the Park Network and shit like that. And like I said, she backed by the UFC, and she knows that people. It's like Chris Marte knows he's in trouble. He knows that this is not the Maud Marins of the shit right now. This is a different race, and I believe that he knows that if these people hit the right places and they get the right amount of votes, he's out the door. And Chris Marte, like I said, if he loses on June 24th, he only brought down his fucking self. And like I said, he brought down himself. And I will never feel bad because, like I said, he never gave me the time of day. He gave me the finger many times. He straight up ignored me many times. So I was like, look, you know what? If he loses, he fucking loses. Like, fuck him. You know what I'm saying? He fucking loses. So going forward with this another situation with Lincoln Wrestler, is that, look, I see what's going on with Wrestler. I said, look, a wrestler is wrestler. With the whole thing with wrestler is like I could go on all day about that motherfucker. Like what he done as a city council member, the shit that he did to really destroy the city, divide, ruin neighborhoods, the bills that he introduced under the orders of transportation alternative under Danny Harris and Elizabeth Adams. The shit that he done as a member, it was just like he's really fucked up. Like Lincoln really fucked up. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this is my thing about Lincoln, right? He's gonna win his re-election on a landslide because a lot of people like it. They know him and they like him. He had his base come out strong in Greenpoint and Williamsburg, but he's gonna win. But let me keep it real. Like Lincoln's gonna walk out the city council as like what you don't do as a member, like as the lesson of like what you don't do as a city council member, of what you don't do as a city council member. You know, just like him, Rita Joseph, it's like a lot of these guys that's gonna walk out city council. They running unopposed, or if they're not running unopposed, they run a middle opposition. They run a minimal opposition, and you know, look. The thing is that, you know, let me go on this side that, you know, what you don't, it's like, it's a lesson that you learn. It's a lesson that you learn as a council member of what you don't do. But like I said, I don't live their life. I live my life. You know, I'm not perfect. I am not perfect. Christopherleonjohnson is not perfect, right? But I have to live with what I done in my life. I have to done what I done to try to make the city better or make the city worse. I have to live with myself with that. These guys and gals, they don't understand that. These guys are running unopposed or minimal opposition, but you know, this is what it is. So you're in the day, it's this is Lewis Show right here. And on the other side, it's so Olivia Lewis Show put her shit here, her stuff here, and then across the street is Coleman. Like I said, like going forward, Lincoln Wrestler, I say, look, you know, like I said, he's gonna win on a landslide. He's gonna win on a landslide because the opponent came in too late. Not only she came in too late, like this is my thing about Gates, right? Sabrina Gates. Gates is that, look, not only she jumped into the race too damn late, she jumped into the race too late, and not only that, like, she's black, and it's that district, it doesn't have a lot of black voters, and that district doesn't have a lot of black voters. The problem is that district doesn't have a lot of black voters, and they're not going to vote for someone that's black. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because of racism. It's just like they don't want a black person serving over them. You know, that's the thing they don't want over there. So,
nice shirt.
Thank you. So, that's all I got to say about the log off. And take care.